Now we move on to the last topic of our chapter, that is nucleic acid. Okay, now nucleic acid is responsible for transferring genetic information. Now I have mentioned 2 points out here. Every generation resembles to their ancestors, and the next point is inherited characters are transmitted by nucleus of every cell. Okay, now if you look at ourselves, we resemble our parents in some or the other ways, right? Your eyes might be similar to that of your mom. Your the way you look, you might resemble your dad very much. Your shape, size of your ear, nose would be similar to your parents. Now why is that so? Because if you look at the cell consists of a nucleus, and inside nucleus there are chromosomes. Now chromosome consists of this nucleic acids, and this nucleic acids which are present in the nucleus of the cell is responsible for passing out these genetic characters from your parents to those to their children. Okay, now this is something that you must have studied in biology under mitosis and meiosis already, right? Now this nucleic acids, they are of two types. One is the DNA, the other one is RNA. I have written the full form here, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. So D, N and A. And RNA stands for ribonucleic acid, that is RNA. Now I have also mentioned the place where they are found in the cell and also what is their function. So DNA, you will find it in the nuclei of the living cell, and the information of DNA is it is going to store your genetic information, right? And if you look at RNA, then you will find it in the fluid of the living cell. So fluid means nucleus. If you leave the nucleus, न्यूक्लियस के बाजू में साइटोप्लाज्म रहता है, right? So that cytoplasm, in that fluid you will see that this RNA is present. And what is RNA going to do? It is going to bring about protein synthesis. Okay, so making up of protein synthesis is more, it's what, making up of proteins. Fine. Now under this we are going to study two things. One is the nucleotides and the nucleoside. So first we are moving on to nucleotides. So what is a nucleotide? Nucleic acids are unbranched polymer of repeating monomers. Okay, again I am telling you, nucleic acids, they are unbranched polymer of repeating monomer. So monomer is a small unit which is going to combine with each other to form a polymer, right? Now so if you have two monomers, they are going to combine and give you a polymer. So what they are saying, unbranched polymer. Unbranched polymer means it is not going to have any branches, straight chain में रहेगा वो. तो दो मोनोमर, तीन चार मोनोमर, you can have 3 to 4 monomers combining together to give you the polymer here. Fine. Now this nucleotide monomer is made up of a monosaccharide. It is going to consist a nitrogen containing base and a phosphate group. So nucleotide का जो monomer है, it is made up of three things. One is the monosaccharide, the nitrogen containing base and the phosphate group. So now we will just see which kind of monosaccharide is used, what kind of nitrogen bases are used, and which phosphate group is used to form this nucleotide monomer. Okay, so first we move on to the monosaccharide. Now we know that monosaccharide is that sugar which will not undergo hydrolysis, and it is not going to give you any other smaller sugar unit, right? Monosaccharide is the least sugar unit. So if you look here in RNA, I have written sugar present is D-ribose, and in DNA sugar used is 2-deoxy-D-ribose. So we are studying the structures of both. RNA में क्या रहेगा और DNA में क्या रहेगा. Okay, so in RNA sugar will used is D-ribose, and DNA it is deoxy-D-ribose. So I have also mentioned the structures here. Now this is D-ribose and this is 2-deoxy-D-ribose. So this sugar structure will be present in RNA and this will be present in DNA. Okay, so if you look at the structure difference, then it is a furanose. Okay, furanose ring structure is used here. And if you look here, second carbon atom, there you will come across the different, that is H and OH. Here in both the cases it is H. So you have to basically learn these two structures. Fine. So now both RNA and DNA contain 5-membered ring monosaccharide, that is furanose. Okay, we had also for glucose we had done pyranose, but here we are using what sugar that is used is DNA, and in DNA and RNA is furanose, that is 5-membered cyclic ring structure. Again I am telling you, in RNA we use D-ribose, in DNA we use 2-deoxy-D-ribose. Both are furanose structure. Only the second carbon atom there is going to be changed, that is H and OH here. Here it is going to be H and H in both the places. Fine. Okay, so this is regarding the sugar structure that you will be using. Now we move on to nitrogen containing base. Okay, so in total, like if you go to see, there are about total 5 nitrogen bases, that is cytosine, which is represented by C. Then you have uracil, which is represented by U, thymine by T, adenine by A, and guanine by G. So they are just using the first starting letter of the bases. So these are total 5 bases that are nitrogen containing base. Okay, now if you look at RNA and DNA, no, first I would just explain you this. Now cytosine, uracil and thymine, they have one ring and are derived from parent compound pyrimidine. Okay, so now this I have drawn the structure of pyrimidine, and now this is going to be the parent compound, and from this your 3 bases are derived, that is cytosine, uracil and thymine. Okay, now can you see this nitrogen present in the ring? That is why it is said that nitrogen containing bases. Now see why I am saying that it is derived from pyrimidine, because you can see nitrogen is placed here on the first and the third position. So similarly first and third here, and then you have the other groups, first and third here, then you have the other groups. Similarly even for thymine, first and third here you have the, then you have the CH3 and C double bond O other groups. Okay, so again I am telling you, cytosine, uracil and thymine, they are derived from pyrimidine. So pyrimidine is the parent compound here. Now next is adenine, guanine, have 2 rings and are derived from parent compound purine. So if you look here, this is the parent compound purine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it has 4 nitrogens. So see here 1, 2, 3, 4 in the ring I am talking about. So see here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have the other groups that are attached to it. So basically I don't think there is need for you to study the structure of this basis, but if you know it better. Okay, so if you look here, so purine is going to be the parent compound and adenine and guanine is derived from your parent compound purine. So I hope this is clear to you all. The first 3, cytosine, uracil and thymine, it is derived from parent compound pyrimidine, and adenine and guanine is derived from purine. Difference between the two, here pyrimidine has only one ring, whereas purine has 2 rings. Okay, it is simple, it is you can just go through it. I'll be sending the notes on WhatsApp group. Fine. Now if you look at RNA and DNA, I told you this D-ribose means the sugar that you are going to use in RNA. Here D2-deoxyribose, this is the sugar that you will be using in DNA. Out of this, in RNA only A, G, C and U bases will be present. Adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil. Okay, so these 4 bases will be present in RNA. Whereas in DNA you will be having A, G, C and T, that is adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. So keep this in mind. So basically this is the combination of sugar and the bases that will be present in RNA and your DNA. Fine. So I hope this is clear. So this was under nucleotide. Fine. So nucleotide is a combination of what? So a phosphate group will be PO4 group, PO4 3 minus. Okay, that is your phosphate group. I need not mention it, but I'm just telling you. So when you studied nucleotide, I told you what is going to happen. It is going to be a unbranched polymer. Unbranched means there are not going to be any branches. It is going to be in the straight form when a number of monomers are going to combine. And nucleotide structure consists of 3 things. One is the monosaccharide, then you have the nitrogen containing bases and the phosphate, right? Now after that I told you under DNA and RNA which bases, which different bases are going to be present, and also the two different types of sugars that will be present in DNA and RNA. Okay, now we move on to the next topic, that is nucleoside. Okay, now how is a nucleoside formed? It is going to be a base and a sugar unit. Okay, no phosphate group here. It is going to be a base and a sugar unit. Now see, D-ribose is a sugar and cytosine is a base. So one sugar unit and one base unit. Now what am I going to do? Now this is the structure of D-ribose and this is the structure of cytosine. So they are going to combine by the elimination of water. So now this is what you get after that. So you have your NH2 group, you have your N, double bond N. So this H is going away and this OH is going away. So this H and this OH is getting eliminated in terms of water and the ring is getting attached here. So see, I have done it here. You have your NH2 NC double bond O NH, and then down I have the sugar unit. Okay, so see, HNOH. So basically if you look here, so this H and this OH, they are going to eliminated as water. So after that you get your alpha ribonucleoside. Okay, now I have mentioned one more thing here. The carbon atoms of furanous sugar are denoted by primes. Prime is just a dash to differentiate from that of carbons of base. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if I am going to put carbon 1, 2, 3 for sugar, then I will be putting it in this way. For example, 1 dash, 2 dash. Now why am I putting this dash? Just to indicate, like if I want to terms the positions down here in bases, then again I'll put the same numbers, that is 1, 2, 3. So you will put dash for glucose, and to differentiate it from the carbons of bases you will keep the numbers as it is for base, but only in case of sugar you will put dash, just to differentiate the carbon atoms. Okay, so I hope how a nucleoside is formed. Again I'm telling you, nucleoside is just a combination of sugar and base. Okay, one example I have given here is of diribose and cytosine. Now of course this is from your textbook only. So this is the structure of D-ribose, that is sugar. You are reacting it with or combining it with a base. So with the elimination of your water, so the H from your NH is going and this OH group is going to go, and then you are going to get the structure of alpha ribonucleoside. I also mentioned regarding the primes. Primes you will be using only for sugar structure, the carbons that are present in the sugar unit. For base you will keep number 1, 2, 3 only. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now this is under nucleotide. So this I will just explain you how the base looks like entire nucleotide kaise dikhta hai. So I told you a nucleotide consists of a base, sugar and a phosphate group, right? So these two examples are given in your book, that is AMP, that is adenosine monophosphate, and this is DCMP, that is deoxycytidine monophosphate. So these are the two examples that are given in your book. Now this is just an explanation of how all the groups are combined, as in the base, sugar and phosphate group, to give you a nucleotide. So if you look here, then this is your sugar, this is your base, and this is your phosphate group. I told you PO4. So this is going to be your phosphate group. Of course there will be elimination of water molecules and hence they are joining each other. Okay, so this is just an example of nucleotide. If you look here, this is going to be your phosphate group, this is your sugar unit, and this is going to be your base. All these structures you just go through, it is already given in your textbook. Now if you look at the formation of a polynucleotide, now just now I explained you what is a nucleotide. Just a revision, nucleotide is a base, sugar along with a phosphate group. So how they will be formed? You are going to have a phosphate, sugar and a base attached to it. So this is one unit, phosphate, sugar, base attached to it, phosphate, sugar, base attached to it. So there will be a number of nucleotides joining together, and when a number of nucleotides join together, it is going to be called as polynucleotide. Okay, we know dinucleotide means it is going to be 2. If it is trinucleotide means there are going to be 3 nucleotides. Polynucleotide means it is going to be 10 or more than 10 nucleotides coming together. What is the meaning of this? That means the chain is going to continue in the either two directions, that is left and right. Okay, now this is 3' and 5' position where phosphodiester linkage is formed. Now what is this phosphodiester linkage? I will be sending you one video for the formation of dinucleotide. You will understand it, what is the meaning of that. So I will just explain it to you later. Fine. Now next, the last topic under nucleic acid is DNA double helix. Okay, so who were the two people who discovered this DNA double helix? They were James Watson and Francis Crick in the year 1953. Okay, now what are the salient features? Now DNA, it has two polynucleotide strands which run in right-handed double helix. So they run in opposite direction. I'll just show you one rough diagram that I have drawn here. So DNA has two polynucleotide strands which run in right-handed double helix. So if you look here, can you see these are the two polynucleotide strands which are running right-handed. Okay. Now next, they run in opposite direction. One strand 5' end to 3' end, and the other strand is 3' end to 5' end. So if you look here, one is 3 to 5 and the other one is 5 to 3. Now position, sugar phosphate backbone, it is outside of helix. So sugar phosphate backbone is, I'm talking about this strands. See, I have mentioned it here, that is sugar phosphate backbone. Okay, outside the helix means they are present towards the core. Now next point is bases, inside perpendicular to the axis of helix. So all these are bases, A, T, G, C, T, A, C, G, all these are bases. And if you look at this sugar phosphate backbone, then they are perpendicular. I hope you understand what is the meaning of perpendicular. Fine. Now DNA double helix structure is stabilized by hydrogen bonding by the bases that are present on two polynucleotide chain, giving ladder like appearance. So if you look here, then these are the two bases that are present in there. One second, I'll just show you how the hydrogen bonds are formed. So what they are saying is, this structure, this DNA structure is stabilized by the bases that are present on the ends of these strands. Okay, now they form a ladder like structure, and here there is a hydrogen bond that is formed between them. And because this hydrogen bond is formed, what is going to happen? It is going to stabilize the structure. Okay, so now see here, adenine forms 2 hydrogen bonds with thymine and guanine forms 3 hydrogen bonds with cytosine. That is why you will see that adenine forms bonds only with thymine and your cytosine is going to form bonds only with guanine. Okay, so if you look here, see, A and T, G and C, T and A, C, G, T, A. So that is why you can say that they are complementary base pairs, and hence the strands are also complementary. Complementary means you understand they are going with each other. Okay, that is why. So just to tell you regarding the DNA helix structure, I told you it was discovered by James Watson and Francis Crick in the year 1953. Now next, what you need to tell is it is made up of 2 polynucleotide chains, and it is also called as what? Sugar phosphate backbone. It is present on the outer helix, you can say, right? Now next you need to mention this, the first polynucleotide strand is from 3' to 5', and the next one is from 5' to 3 prime. Okay, next you need to talk is about the stabilizing of the structure. So you can say, because adenine form 2 bonds with thymine, it is complementary with each other, and guanine form 3 bonds with cytosine, that is why they are complementary with each other. And the bases, they are perpendicular to this phosphate, but perpendicular means like this, right? So if this is your sugar phosphate chain, then you can see that they are present perpendicular. They give ladder like appearance to the double helix model, and there is a hydrogen bond formed between the two, that is why it is the structure gets stabilized. Okay, so all these things you have to mention under DNA double helix. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, please do ask, and I will be sending you one video on how a dinucleotide is formed. There you will come to know what is a phosphodiester linkage. Okay, thank you.